What a beautiful day, YouTube. This is my fly fishing monster kayak. All the mods I've made to it. Basically, it's a Pelican Enforcer 120X angler that I have stabilized and raised the seat on for the purpose of fly fishing. I love to fly fish in salt water for redfish, trout, flounder, drum. And I have put together this modification package on my kayak for this purpose. I'll go through each thing, give you an idea of what I'm doing here. The first thing I had to do to this kayak to be able to fly fish out of it comfortably and safely was to stabilize it. It's a little too tippy. It was fine for using conventional gear, but fly fishing, there's a lot of motion involved and it got really tippy. So I put together this stabilizer out of 22-inch boat fenders, PVC, and a couple of Scotty rod holders. What I did to the Scotty rod holders to make them stable enough for the stabilizers was to mount the bases, through bolt them, and then put the rod holders in and JB weld them into place, and then put them even further in place by using set screws into the bases. And then I built the PVC frame. There's a million videos on YouTube to show you how to do it. And I made my stabilizers. They sit barely in the water, except if I'm standing up, then they go down about maybe a fourth of the stabilizer into the water, enough to stabilize the kayak, but not enough to really cause any problems. It also creates almost no drag when I'm paddling. To fly fish comfortably, I needed to raise the seat and have a comfortable seat. And once again, YouTube U gave me 1,000 good ideas, and what I did was PVC frame and then mounted a real cushy boat seat on there so I'm comfortable. And I raised it up probably a good 12 inches from the base of the kayak to make it enough elevation to where I can see and also to be able to cast comfortably. When I originally bought this kayak, I was using it for fishing for hybrid striped bass in Lake Conroe with conventional gear. And so I mounted my depth finder right here on the hatch of the right in front of the seat. Worked fine for that type of fishing. But when you're fly fishing, the main rule of fly fishing is if anything can get caught on the deck, on anything up there, it will. And my fly line constantly was getting caught on my depth finder, so I had to figure out a way to fix it. So what I did was I pulled off the bracket and ran the lines out behind it, underneath the seat, then going back here to my crate, where I ran the power line and the transducer line into the crate and back out again, and mounted my fish finder on the crate. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm fishing in water that I don't need to be checking the depth all the time or the temperature. But if I want to look and see, I've got it. It's available to me. The transducer was mounted on a Scotty transducer mount on the side here, and sorry about that. And it sits right there in the water just perfectly. For any type of fishing you do, and in a lot of other activities as well, you really need an anchor trolley on your kayak. I mounted mine on my port side here using stainless steel rings, and I just mounted them on existing hardware and handles. Come back here behind the net and mounted it on the back. I use an 8-foot long stakeout pole, and I have found that that's the optimum depth. A lot of people use shorter ones, but I found that they seem to pull out when I'm fishing in deeper water. obviously. So I've gone with the 8-foot. It works perfectly for what I'm doing. I also have with me a drift anchor that I keep, and many times I'll unhook the stakeout pole and just use my drift anchor and drift across the flat with it. It makes for excellent fishing to cover large areas. I made a PVC rod holder for my crate, cut out a spot just big enough that I can slide my fly rod in there. The one I'm not using, it's still all rigged and ready, but it's in the holder there, neatly out of my way since I'm a right-handed caster. I don't ever have a problem on the back cast hitting into it. And then I keep my other rod rigged and ready right here on my casting platform. I made a little casting platform out of some plywood, also a PVC, so I can, now that the kayak is stabilized, I can stand up in it. Makes for a lot easier fishing when you can stop, stand up and stretch, make some casts, look around, see what's going on. Wouldn't suggest standing in any kayak in rough water, but it's perfectly fine for most of my average fishing. This kayak, before I added the stabilizer, I wouldn't have dreamed of standing up. I wouldn't have even dreamed of raising the seat because it just was too unstable for that. It was a fine kayak for what I was doing with it, but to expand that, I had to do more. And so that's how I made these modifications on it. One other thing about all the modifications that I've made to the kayak is they all come off, which makes it nice. I can strip it down when I'm done, clean everything up real well, and then put it back in the garage. Not a problem at all. Makes for a very convenient setup for me. What a beautiful day. I hope everybody found something useful in this video and gives them an idea of things they may want to do to their own. I know it looks kind of strange, but in my opinion, function is beauty. And I've turned a real tippy kayak into a very stable platform for fly fishing. I've caught a lot of fish out of it so far. Plan on catching a lot more. Hope you go out and have a good day and catch some fish.